Moving to the next session, I would like to invite a practitioner who will share with us the do's and don'ts of implementing intelligent automation in your enterprise. Please welcome Ulhas Kulkarni, Senior Vice President, Process Automation.
As we all know, the process automation is being widely accepted, implemented by businesses and enterprises globally. With the advent of technologies like robotic process automation, it has become more and more feasible and attractive to implement all these automation initiatives. In addition to that, the current pandemic situation, which is spanning for over a year now, has made it mandatory for almost all organizations to do automation as a hygiene factor rather than a nice to have initiative. What is robotics process automation? So, robotic process automation, called as RPA, is basically widely used to automate routine, mundane and repetitive activities. Once automated, it will do with 100% accuracy, it will do exactly what you ask it to do, and that's precisely the reason it's being widely accepted globally with an annual growth of close to 30%. Now, why the popularity is so high? There are various reasons, but the top reasons being it is extremely easy to implement. It doesn't need any technical skills. Any business user who is extremely expert in the day-to-day activities can very easily implement using what you call it as no-code, low-code development. So, and in addition to that, we have seen that global vendors are making it available as a trial version. So we have seen that more and more people from the business are very easily able to download it and use it for their personal automation of tasks and sub-processes. Secondly, RPA is a totally non-invasive technology. What actually means is that for you to implement that, you don't have to make any changes in your existing environment. And for whatever reasons, if you want to roll it back, you don't have to do anything, just stop using it. That's the reason there's absolutely no fear of experimenting with RPA into production environment. And third important thing, the returns. Now, implementation of a simple RPA process can be done in just few days, and the returns can be visible just within a week's time. That's precisely the reason there has been wide experimentation of RPA by multiple people, and that's precisely the reason for wider popularity and acceptance of this technology. In spite of all these advantages of RPA, if we look at the current situation, then robotic process automation is being widely used. There are large number of enterprises who have already implemented that. But if you look at the depth of penetration, I would say they are still scratching the surface. If you look at a big organization which has potential of automating hundreds of processes, they are still struggling with tens of processes because of various reasons. And as per the published figures, nearly 70 to 80% of the organizations are yet to achieve the actual potential of automation based on the investments that they have done. Datamatics as an organization has been into process automation for close to 2 decades now. And based on our experience, based on the feedback that we have received from the customers, and based on so many success stories that we have, I have tried to here give you certain best practices, certain do's and don'ts, which if you follow, then it will ensure that the chances of success will be as close to 100% as possible. It is not an exhaustive list. I have followed 80-20 principle. So you may see maybe a slightly more than 20 of the reasons which will definitely cover very close to 100% factors which, if not followed, will not give you the required benefits out of the automation programs that you would run. So as we have seen in the earlier slides, that basically it's extremely easy to use. The flip side of that is anybody can start their own automation initiative within the organization. So started by the individuals, the focus is individual benefit, and as a result of that, the organization level big picture is grossly missed. And that's what I mean by making this program enterprise wide rather than making it happen in siloed pockets. Believe me, the reality is there are multiple individual automation programs running within an organization, and which is extremely detrimental to the overall automation program that an organization needs. So the automations done by individual, we call it process automation, but actually it's not a process automation. It's more of tasks or sub-processes that are being automated. And if you look at an organization, basically the benefit will come if you do a complete end-to-end process automation rather than doing it in bits and pieces. As we say, the strength of the chain is the weakest link in the chain. So if you don't automate all the aspects of the end-to-end process, the individuals may get benefit out of that, but not the organization. Extremely important point that we need to follow. Automation is possible by a complete suite of products and not just RPA. The tools involve RPA, yes, very important component. Apart from that, there's something like IDP, Intelligent Document Processing, which is being used for extracting information from structured and unstructured document. There's something called artificial intelligence, a huge area which has machine learning, deep learning, a lot of things are there. Then apart from that, there's something like analytics, business intelligence. So this complete suite together provides the complete automation and not just RPA. If you speak about RPA, RPA is doing just up to 20% of the automation. And if you restrict to RPA, the benefits will be in proportion to that. In addition to that, RPA is the easiest of the suite of technologies that we have, and that's the reason the natural choice is to do what is possible through RPA, missing out the bigger picture completely, and that is very much important to be considered for any automation program. So to make your automation program more effective, more comprehensive, the processes getting automated should be a proper mix of back office as well as front office processes. And honestly, I would say the component of front office should be much more because it is adding directly to your business. But unfortunately, that's not happening. That's the reason this is extremely important point to be considered during your automation program. Let's do one thing. Now, whatever important points that we discussed, just to make it more clear, let's discuss that with respect to one very common example. I'm taking a business use case where a new loan is applied in a bank and it's processing. Now we know it's clearly a front office process and extremely important for any bank because successful execution of this process directly adds to the top line and revenue of the organization. In spite of that, if you look at the reality, most of the banks are currently doing this process fully manually. And what happens? The turnaround time, which I mean from the time the customer applies for the loan till the time the final confirmation goes back to the customer, it takes about 5 to 7 days. There's a lot of scope of automation here, and automation is justified looking at the benefits that it offers. While most of the banks are doing this process manually, there are many who have taken certain initiatives to automate parts of this process using RPA, but the level of benefits are just up to 10 to 20% of reduction in the turnaround times. Some have gone further beyond RPA by using IDP to process the documents, getting the information, but still the turnaround time has been reduced max up to 50%. However, if we do that as a comprehensive enterprise-wide program, then in that case, the turnaround time can come down to something like 6 to 8 hours. Now let's evaluate this program with respect to the challenges that we have discussed some time back. Now typically what happens here, there is a front office department who would interact with the customers, give the required details, provide the different options, get required documents, information, and process that further. It goes to processing department, wherein these documents are verified, information is verified for correctness. If there is any problem, it goes back to the front office. If it is okay, it's passed on to the next department, which is underwriting department. Now, underwriting department is where the credibility of the application is scrutinized. with reference to the credit history of the applicant and various other places, so that there is no fraud, there is no risk with the particular application. So next, this application goes to closing department where the actual decision is being taken and relevant information is being decided and frozen. Once that is done, it goes to the QC department where they will scrutinize the entire application from legal and compliance perspective. Very important aspect of the entire application process. And once it clears all the steps, then it goes to the shipping department, which works in conjunction with the front office department to communicate with the customer and give the required details about the loan applications that was under processing. So we have seen that this very important process conceptually cuts through 6 different departments. The number of departments could be different based on the way a particular organization works. The fact remains that it's not done by a single department. And hence, if we need to automate this process, we need to have these 6-7 departments working together to make it happen. Now, once the automation program is being scaled up at enterprise level, when there's active involvement from different departments, and these 6 departments, particularly for this particular business process, it is extremely important for them to come to agreement of automating the entire end-to-end process and not just parts of it. As I mentioned, unless we automate all the processes involved in the business process, then only the turnaround time can come down to something in hours, which is what typically a customer wants. Now, once these 6 departments, they come together, they decide to automate the process end to end, next important thing is to have a broader vision of covering the entire suite of automation products rather than doing RPA. RPA, yes, it is easy, but it has limitations, as we said. So the program has to consider all aspects of the processes in terms of different technologies that could be used so that we get the maximum benefit out of that. We have seen this with reference to the simple process. Any typical organization would have hundreds of processes. So if we are able to consider that for all processes, see the type of benefit that will come out, it will be humongous. And that's what I'm trying to communicate in the message that I gave in the previous slide. Just 4 things, if we follow properly, the benefits will be humongous. Let's do that. I would like to highlight one more very important point which is required in this initiative. We should always try to reduce technical debt. Now, you must have heard this term, but what I exactly mean by technical debt, I can highlight that. Now, typically what happens is when I'm automating a particular manual process, the inherent benefit of automation are so high that we tend to ignore certain additional benefits which are possible by making the process a bit more efficient than what it is right now, by removing the inherent inefficiencies. Now, when somebody is doing something manually, there are certain things which are required when the process is being done manually. When you automate that, that is not required. If it is not consciously removed, it will get also automated and will add to inefficiency also to the automated program. And that's what I mean by technical debt. For this, basically, we have to be extremely vigilant throughout the automation program to identify and remove such inefficiencies. I will cover 2 very simple examples which can clarify what point I'm trying to highlight. Now, if I look at invoice processing, then within invoice processing, if I see that activity being done currently manually, we could see that invoices, they come from different sources in different formats. It could be PDF, it could be Excel, Word document. A manual operator who is doing the processing of the invoices, it doesn't matter much for that person what format it is coming from. But if I try to automate that process, we all know that it's always easier to standardize this process and have it in a single format. So a conscious approach of ensuring that this minor activity is being done will take the performance of automated processes in a big way because the volumes are very high. Similarly, in the invoice processing, we must have heard of PO invoices, non-PO invoices. Now, as a process, we can standardize the process saying that I need all invoices going forward with the PO name into that. If I do that, I can very easily remove an additional step of processing non-PO invoices by manually extracting that information, confirming that before I move further with the bigger business process. I'll cover one more simple example. Say for example, when I am automating a process of extracting information from some web application and putting that into an Excel file. Now when I'm doing this activity, the manual operator needs a screen for looking at the application, getting the information, copying from there and pasting that into Excel sheet. Now if I automate that, obviously I don't need a screen, I don't need a UI. But if I automate it as is, then the performance and robustness of the automated process will not be as good as it would be if I remove the UI and hit the backend of the system directly through APIs. Very simple point, but grossly ignored. If I follow this, then maybe for a single transaction, the effect will be minimal, but if the transaction goes into hundreds and thousands, the impact is visible. This is what I mean by technical debt. If we are conscious, if we are removing that, it will take us in a big way in our automation journey. If we are conscious about capturing such instances, modifying that, taking corrective actions, then the impact on a single transaction may not be much, but if you look at the complete automation picture, the benefits will be humongous. Now I will cover certain points which are required for proper implementation of the points that I mentioned earlier. First one is scaling it up at enterprise level. Now any organization typically will have many departments. They will consist of 10, 20, 50 business units. The support departments like HR, payroll, finance, administration, the IT department, the legal department, the compliance department will have to be conscious enough to ensure that there's proper involvement of all departments in this initiative. So it is important that apart from proper involvement, this cohesive team from different departments that we create are on the same page in terms of understanding on what automation actually is, understanding on what type of benefits that it can offer, a proper trust that it's going to happen, and for making them to reach that stage, there are a lot of orientation programs and trainings required. Investment is there in terms of time, but I would say it is definitely worthwhile. Next important step is ideation. What I exactly mean by that is basically the possibilities of automation are humongous within an organization, and not a single person will have idea on those possibilities. Hence, it is important that we involve people from all departments at different levels to get these ideas, collate that at enterprise level so that we have a big repository of such ideas available for us to consider for automation. And that's what exactly I mean by ideation. And for that to happen, there are certain things that are very important. So the type of training that we have done for representatives from different departments, a more intense training on automation possibilities, and the trust is very important for these people so that they start contributing their ideas. Now, once you reach that stage, once you start getting ideas, the ideas could be in multiple different ways, multiple different formats. Putting them together in a cohesive manner requires a tool support. Such tools are available in the market. You need to ensure that we have a easy to enter form available there to get basic information required for any ideas, and we have to conscious enough to make it as simple as possible so that you encourage people, motivate people to give those ideas. Thanks to artificial intelligence and cognitive intelligence that is available in these tools, it will iron out typical problems available when the ideas are crowdsourced, coming from multiple people. It will remove dependencies, overlap, and it will give a comprehensive picture to anyone within the organization so that these ideas could be taken to the next stage. Now, once we have a repository of these ideas, it's extremely important that the respective process owners and respective superiors are scrutinizing these ideas, making them foolproof by adding missing information, validating that and confirming that yes, these are unique ideas and these are required to be automated. Once that is done, then next stage comes to prioritize that at enterprise level. Believe me, prioritization is not a simple activity. Some ideas could be important for reducing the cost, reducing the effort. Some ideas could be important to increase the accuracy. Some would be important from regulatory compliance point of view. Some would be important from business agility point of view. The level of weightages of each of these ideas, each of these benefits will differ for different ideas. But there are tools available where you can configure that so that at the end of it, you are getting a comprehensive view at the enterprise level on prioritization of different processes, different ideas that have been captured during the ideation process. Of course, there would be certain boundary cases which can be ironed out through proper discussions, but those would be minimal, and at the end of it, you have an important repository of all possibilities within your organization that can be automated. Now, current automation tools are so easy to use that even non-technical business users can use them to automate their respective processes, sub-processes or tasks. That's how you are creating a vital pool of resources within the organization who are working on implementation of these ideas and in a controlled way which is closely monitored by Center of Excellence. Hence, the risk is minimal, benefits are humongous. Now, we all know that business is dynamic, things are changing regularly. So the automations that you have done today may not be valid tomorrow or a few months down the lane. And that's where the continuous monitoring aspect of the tools available is very important. We can use the dashboards that are available in the tools to continuously monitor your automation processes, the returns that you are getting out of that, any modifications that are required in the process because of changes in the business processes, business environment, and fine-tune that to ensure that it is still in sync with the current requirements of the business. If we do that, that will ensure that you get maximum benefits out of your entire automation program. Business process automation is a very wide field, evolving continuously with technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, huge potential of benefits for enterprises. By using the steps, the thumb rules that I mentioned just now, we have been giving these benefits to our clients for past almost 2 decades. Let's work together so that we can pass on those benefits to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ulas, for sharing your experience on successful implementation of intelligent automation in enterprises. I'm confident that our audience will find it noteworthy. In case anyone has questions, please write into the chat box and we will answer them online. To help you start and scale intelligent automation in your company, Datamatics has launched the world's largest repository of RPA use cases with more than 800 use cases across industries and functions. You can access the repository on our website datamatics.com or follow the link given in the chat box.